Ahoy there folks, I'm Captain Benzie and welcome to another video for EVE Echoes. I'm here again at the point at Masuna Island Fishing Resort. This is a beautiful place owned by operated by my mother-in-law and my father-in-law. We come out here from time to spend time with them, go fishing and just enjoy the outside, and I thought this would be a nice backdrop for this video. So in today's video, I want to talk to you all about PvP combat in EVE Echoes. Why you don't see many videos from me, but why it's actually more important than you think it is, because I get a mix of different people on my channel asking, hey Benzie, when are you going to show us some more PvP combat? And other people going like, oh, I hate it when you show PvP. Why do people have to blow up each other's ships? I hate that aspect of this game. It's ruining it for me, and you promoting it, I can't square with that. So I wanted to sit down and have an honest conversation with you all about player versus player combat, and indeed just player versus player gameplay in general, because there is a distinction there, in EVE Echoes. Now you'll notice that when you start up a new character, on the screen that you name the character and then you press OK to jump into the game, there is a little button in the bottom right, a little tick box that says that you consent to PvP, and you can't actually continue without clicking that tick. You must check that box to continue. EVE is a PvP game. There are two types of PvP in EVE. There is your traditional PvP, what most people think of when we say PvP, the going out there and blowing up each other's ships. That in itself can be subdivided into two different categories of what some people would, I think, unfairly call real PvP, and other things like then faction war games or the Verge of Silence event, which are not real PvP. I prefer to refer to these as world PvP and scheduled PvP. Why is PvP combat such a big thing in Echoes, and indeed in EVE Online in general? Remember, in EVE Online, you can kill people in high sec. Yes, Concord are gonna, come right for you and hunt you down and blow you up very, very quickly, depending on the security system. You can even gate camp in high sec. Like, people will sit on gates in high sec and then just use smart bombs or suicide ganking and stuff like that. You're probably going to get blown up by Concord, but you have friends who can come and grab the loot for you. Why is that even a thing? Why do the devs allow it, right? Because it sucks to jump through a gate and have someone just blap you. If you're jumping through nullsec with a hold full of ore that you've mined and you get caught on an N-rail gate camp, that's not fun, is it? Well, I'd argue it is. And I'd say it's fun for me as well, as the person getting caught in that trap, because it provides risk, but we'll come back to that point at some point in this video. The simple point of PvP being such a big thing in Echoes, in EVE in general, we're going to be focusing obviously on Echoes, but why it's such a big thing in EVE as well, is to do with the concept of your decisions mattering, consequences being very real in EVE. And again, I can instantly hear some people saying, but insurance. We'll come to that. The concept of consequence in EVE it's where the golden rule comes from, that don't undock anything that you can't afford to lose. And it's something that players really do need to live by, that if you've got a ship, make sure you can afford to replace it before you undock it. I usually have 2 of every ship that I use if I'm going somewhere remotely risky. This is a point that, in EVE Online, I've just got myself a Tengu. You know how expensive those things are if you play EVE Online. I won't undock it yet. I've got the skills to undock it, but I won't actually undock it yet because I don't have enough ISK to replace it if I lose it. Yes, I could jump back into my Cheetah or my Buzzard, but I'd rather have a second Tengu set up ready to go that I can use there. That's a concept that is important to remember in EVE. And that idea of consequences is a big part of the gameplay. It's a big part of the appeal for a lot of players, that when you goof, when you screw up and you lose something, it's because you did something wrong. Most of the time. There are examples when you haven't done anything wrong and there's genuinely nothing you could have done about it. The occasional thing like when you jump through a gate and the game doesn't load properly, certain bugs and issues like that. In this video we're talking about why PvP is a thing in general. Why are you allowed to shoot each other? And it's because, 1, the game wants to promote the concept of consequences, your decisions mattering. If your decisions don't matter, the game loses a lot of its fun. It's a strange situation, but I honestly recommend that most players should, early on, I've done this with a couple of my real-life friends who have taken up EVE Echoes recently, I've said to them, you've got your new ship, right? You've just gone into your Moa or your Rupture or whatever at Tech 6. Let's take your trainer. whether it's your destroyer trainer or one of your cruiser trainers, and just fly into nullsec. Set your base where you are, fly into nullsec. Just go exploring, go and try and shoot some things. Find someone in nullsec, shoot at them and lose your ship. Eve Online, literally in the tutorial, has a couple of missions where you are forced to lose your ship. There is one in Echoes as well, but it's not quite as weighty in a tutorial situation to me as it is about actually going out there. Nina has an excellent story of this, helping a friend start off in EVE Online. They are just wandering around low sec when a Panther uncloaks and just one-shots this friend's Cormorant. Brand new Cormorant, gone. Panther, big expensive Black Ops battleship, just decloaks, takes this Cormorant out in one hit. Why? Ultimately, laugh about that, move on, accept that that is part of the game and it's part of the joy of the game. Losing a ship can be fun. You might think, but I've worked hard to get these ships, I don't want to lose them. Learning to lose your ships is one of the best skills in EVE Echoes, and it really can make a massive difference in how you play. PvP is also important outside of that concept of consequence. When it comes down to it, PvP is the fuel for industry. When you have big fleets of players going to war against each other, those ships need replacing. And here's where we're going to be talking about insurance. And again, I want to state for the record now, I'm not happy with insurance how it currently is in Echoes. I think Lancedot made a very good point when he said during the recent developer AMA that even if they took insurance out of the game, it still wouldn't solve the problem, as there are still a lot of people sitting in Claralam who are just 100% safe, they never lose their ship, they never need to buy another ship ever again once they've hit Tech 10, once they've bought that ship. So we need to find other ways of consumption, not just insurance. It's not the only way. It's the one that gets demonized, but Lancedot was clear in saying that they are pretty certain if they just took insurance out of the game, it still wouldn't fix industry. So, anyway, if you got rid of insurance, people would stop undocking ships and going PvPing. And every time I say that, people go, oh, I used to undock before insurance. Yes, you were the minority. You were the serious minority. Notice that once insurance started being a thing, our battles got a lot bigger. More people were out roaming. Things like that happen because players are more comfortable losing their ships now. The consequences before were harsh. Some of us are fine with those harsh consequences. Some people are not. And the insurance caters to those people who are a little more squeamish about dealing with the concept of consequence. I think you get a situation where ultimately you need to, like for me, I buy my ships from one person, right? There's like 1 or 2 shipbuilders who build me my ships, which means if I lost a ship without insurance, only that one person gains. Whereas with insurance, it's much more democratically, that's not the word I'm looking for, it's more almost socialistically. That ship, the buy order, is sent out for anyone to be able to fulfill. Which means, and it's done in such a way that it's not just someone local to me, it benefits a much wider catchment. Anyway, we've come off on a major rant topic on the side there. We're talking about PvP and why it's important. When a ship gets blown up, a ship needs to be replaced. And ultimately, that does still happen with insurance. When a ship gets blown up and replaced with the insurance system, eventually a buy order is generated, and therefore an industrialist can sell a ship to fulfill that buy order. And that's how it's meant to work. It needs a bit of tweaking to get it to work properly, but the concept is sound. So you need to have ships being blown up. That's why PvP is a thing in Echoes. Blowing up ships creates demand for ships, which allows industry to do what it does. Yes, there needs to be a discussion about what do we do about people who sit in Claralam 24/7 earning obscene amounts of ISK and never losing or never even coming close to losing a ship. There are discussions that we can have there, and there are lots of good ideas, and they're beyond the scope of this particular video. But getting more people into player versus player environments is always going to be a good step towards that. If you can push people into doing things like Nihilist Dead Spaces, and if you can make it so that actual PvPers want to go into these Nihilist Dead Spaces as well, that would work better. It's why I think that Nihilist Dead Spaces should be much more connected than they actually are. I think you should be able to jump in from one Nihilist Dead Space, say in Claralam, and another Nihilist Dead Space out in the, arse end of Cache, and then those connect together and you actually jump out the other sides. I think that should be a thing, like proper wormholes. I think Nihilus could be a brilliant sort of analog system for wormholes. I think Abyssal Dead Spaces, this concept of timed PvE content that if you don't complete it within the time limit, you can't run away. Once you start an Abyssal Dead Space, you've got 20 minutes to clear everything, and either you get destroyed or you destroy them. And if you don't destroy everything in the time limit, it collapses and you lose your ship anyway. Stuff like this, make it lucrative, make it fun, and people will do it, and people will start risking their ships again. The problem is that right now, high-sec islands are 100% safe and 80% lucrative. Low-sec storyline missions earn a lot more per hour, theoretically, than Claralam mission runners will. The thing is, it's very, very risky to do the storyline encounters, and it's 100% safe to do the Claralam. So does that mean that we need to make these storyline missions more expensive, more lucrative, so that people are enticed to do them more? Yeah, I think that would be a way to do it. I think enticing people into low-sec more would be a good thing. I think enticing them into null-sec would be a good thing, if null-sec weren't so blasted safe. And that comes down to the fact that it is way too easy to stabilize a ship for warp. I think that we should be in a situation where it's hard to make it so that your ship is impossible to pin down. I think every time I see an interceptor with full warp core optimizer 3s, there should be a negative to that. Like, I put 3 Warp Core Optimizer 3 rigs onto my Astero, because I don't ever want to really be in combat with that thing. Running is what that thing does best. So, that's what I rig it to do. Rigging an interceptor to run doesn't feel right. And rigging battleships to run as well just doesn't feel right to me. And that's because there's no downside to the Warp Core Optimizer rigs, right? If there was a downside, you might see people fit them less. And if people fitted them less, people would be scrammed more, and therefore more people would be destroyed. It's about increasing that risk. The rewards are already pretty high. I think we need to start increasing risk. I've explained why PvP is so important in EVE Echoes, so I think it's worth taking a break there briefly just to say that if PvP is that important, you need to accept that when you lose a ship, you lose a ship. And stop worrying about honour or, oh, it wasn't a fair fight. No, nothing in EVE is fair. Get that into your head before you undock on day 1. EVE is not a fair game. It's balanced, theoretically, but it's not fair. And anyone who does this whole, oh, EVE's pay to win because my ship with the same skills and that ship with the same skills, if he's paid real money to get a better nanocore, that never happens. You never see a one-on-one in EVE where the 2 ships are the exact same thing. You never want to see that in EVE because that's not what EVE's about. EVE is about you going around in a frigate in nullsec looking for targets you know you can take and refusing the fights that you know you can't take. That's called being smart. It's not about being a coward, it's about being smart. So get that out of your vocabulary that, oh, this guy doesn't fight honorably. No, he doesn't, because it's EVE. You're not supposed to fight honorably. They're pirates. Whoever heard of a pirate back in the 1700s sitting there going, oh, that's an unarmed merchant ship, I can't loot them. Unarmed merchant ships, that's not a fair fight. No, I need to wait until the Imperial Man of War turns up, then I'll fight that. No, PvP is not about being fair. It's not about any of that. It's about being smart. Accept it. Laugh about it. We all make mistakes. God, again, I flew a succubus straight at a stabber sniper and a cinnaball at the same time. There was no way I was going to win that fight. It was a stupid thing to do, but it was fun. Whew. PvP. PvP can be a lot of fun. It's an intrinsic part of the game, so why don't I cover it on the channel? Why don't I do much PvP? Well, there's a couple of reasons. The first reason is that it's very difficult, and sorry about the wind here, it's very difficult for me as Captain Benzie or Silent Rose to actually have good fights. I'm not talking about fair fights, I'm talking about good fights. A fight that feels fun, a fight that's enjoyable for me and something that's actually worth showcasing. I don't bother to PvP on Benzie or Silent Rose anymore because when I turn up, I just die. I am the first person off-grid no matter what I'm flying. If I'm flying logistics, if I'm flying Guardian, heck, I could be sitting in a freaking shuttle at 100k off-grid and people would still be trying to shoot me first. I know because this has happened. It's not fun for me to PvP on those characters because I'm the kill mail that everyone wants. So when I PvP, which I do quite frequently, oh, we never see Benzie at a call to arms. No, of course you don't, because I don't fly Benzie to a call to arms. I fly other ults. I have ults in Void that even the people who recruited me don't know that they are, you know, my ults. And I'm very careful about that because I don't want people knowing. I don't want everyone to always know that it's me on the other side of the screen, because that means for things like PvP, it's just not fun for me. It's not fun to turn up to, you know, fly 30 jumps in a call to arms, to be alphaed off the grid instantly for no strategic value other than the fact that it gave that person Captain Benzie on a kill mail. So I don't do it. I come in on other characters, and ultimately I'm never going to then showcase those characters in videos, am I? Because you're going to see the icon, and if someone goes, "Ah, that was my ship," I see that I lost a ship to, you know, I lost that ship to that ship, and it had the same pictures and the same backgrounds. I know who Captain Benzie is now. It would blow my own cover, right? So I don't do it. Secondly, I don't enjoy solo PvP all that much. I think that for me, I enjoy call to arms content, and I enjoy the occasional, like, running through a gate camp and being chased. I don't enjoy hunting, is the point I want to get at here. To me, it's never felt right. There are videos in the past of me flying ships into low sec or whatever, locking down another player and blowing them up. And for every time that I got a, "Oh man, I can't believe I lost a ship to Captain Benzie," I got an equal DM of, "Dude, what? Like, you're the guy I look up to and you've just blown up my ship." Which meant that every time I went hunting, I would replace the ships that I blew up, which felt wrong for starters, and it cost me an awful lot as well. I would either feel guilty for blowing someone up, or I would just end up paying for their ship anyway, so it stopped becoming fun for me. I recognise that I'm here to help the community, and as much as PvP is an intrinsic and integral part of EVE, I think me joining Signal Cartel on EVE Online taught me something. Signal Cartel have a rule that when you are a Signaleer, you don't engage in PvP unless you are attacked first. You don't join Bombers Bar fleets. You don't do any aggressive PvP with the Signal Cartel name attached to you. And other people have said to me, "Why would I want to do that? I'm restricting my playstyle." Because the Signal Cartel, they're there to help people, which means they want to always be neutral. They don't want to ever be seen to be aggressors or to be attacking people, and I kind of want to continue that into EVE Echoes. It's why I'm focusing more on exploration recently, on ratting and things like that, because I'm having fun in those playstyles. And you know what? The third reason I don't really do much in the way of PvP content, it's because there are some people out there in this scene who just do it so much better than I could ever dream of doing it. If you haven't already, go check out channels like, and I'll put links to these in the description down below, Vetamune, who is a resident PvP god, known for his Stabber Fleet issue, but been having fun with things like Arbitrator Covert Ops and that recently as well. Excellent channel where you can watch him do some truly insane things with his ships. Rahman, the guy who builds most of my destroyers. Again, epic content of him flying a Dragoon or an Algos and all these different destroyers out there into PvP and getting some really funky kills, like seriously cool stuff going on there. Silver Bucket, recent content creator onto the scene, excellent quality content there, a lot of a PvP focus, lots of really cool, interesting kills, well worth your time to check out. Obviously, there are then folks like Baked, Virtual PGE, Lord Cobra. There's tons of content creators out there who I can't even remember to list. All very good at PvP. And I'm not. Like, why would you watch me do PvP when you can watch these guys who are just so much better at it than I could ever be? I'd rather that you guys subscribe to their channels, that you followed their content and saw what they do for PvP. Because when it comes to me doing a video on a destroyer, for example, I will showcase the fit that I use for PvE, but I'll go to Rahman and ask him what he would do for PvP. When I wanted to cover the Stabber and things like that, it's Vetamune that I go straight to every time and ask his opinions. What would be a good fit for this? When I did the video on the Rupture, I'm speaking to Zyklon. When I'm speaking to, like, Bishop for the Malar Interdictor, stuff like this. I would rather be showcasing other people in the community who are just a lot better at this than I am. So go check them out first. They're going to be much more interesting than watching me try to PvP. I'm here to educate you on how the game works. I'm here to teach you about new mechanics. I'm here to showcase new fun ships that you can enjoy. They, on the other hand, are going to show you how to kick ass at PvP. And heck, who knows, when DIR Reflection's up and running again, or maybe I'll jump into some faction war games. I can stream now. I need to actually sit down still and figure out how that all works. So if you're a streamer and you want to show me how actually to get YouTube up and running to have all the proper stuff there so that people can enjoy my content, hit me up. I'd like to know what's going on there. Anyway, folks, thank you for watching. Spread the love with everyone else. Happy sailing, and see you in New Eden. And sorry about the wind.